Today we're going to talk about the MCP50 and its functions. This is the main screen on the MCP50. To get into your hours of service, you must first log in. Before we do that though, I want to explain a few of the functions of the screen. This is your home button icon. Press it. It basically will take you to this screen from anywhere you're at and whatever you're doing. This is your keyboard screen. Press that. You'll get your keyboard. You'll need that to log in. There's another little keyboard at the bottom here. You press that, it'll go away. This is your power icon. It has 4 bars. It'll tell you how much power you have on the unit, how much signal you're receiving. This icon right here is a message icon. I'll press on that. It shows that there's 2 messages that I haven't looked at yet or deleted. This is a back button. Take you back to where you were at. This is a systems button. You can change the settings to brightness, more or less. Volume the same way. More volume, less volume. This question mark here is a help key. You can go in and look at different items if you need help. If you've forgotten how to do something. In addition to that, you can call into safety. I will give you numbers at the end of this to people that you can call. The last thing on the screen is this clock up in the top right-hand corner. It can either be a clock or it can be what we call a DOT clock. Once I log in, I will show you the DOT clock. As an active driver going down the road, that's all you'll see is the DOT clock. It tells you the hours and minutes until you have to stop for a break. Right now, since I'm not logged in, I've got messaging. Again, 2 unread messages. Here's where you do the driver login from. Settings. Different settings. Again, you can hit volume from here. Brightness. Really don't have to worry about calibration. In your time zone. Your logs will be preset to whatever home domicile that you're from, whether it be Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern time. The time zone on this controls this clock. These come preset from San Diego on Pacific time. If you need to change your clock time to whatever time zone you're in, whether it be, Eastern, Central, Pacific, again, you can set that just by going in here. Let's log in. I'm going to go ahead and log in a team. I'm going to log in 2 drivers. Get your screen, your keyboard back up. You want to go with the driver code first. Under normal circumstances, we look at the first 4 letters of the last name, the first 2 letters of the first name. If we've got duplicates, the code will be just a little bit different. Everybody's password is the last 4 of their social. For these purposes, we're just using a generic one. Now to hit OK, I've got to get rid of my keyboard. This particular driver, David Odom, will be the active driver. One driver has to be active, the other has to be inactive. Until you see a full name up here, it's still registering that code. We'll give it a minute. Now then, David Odom is logged in. I'm going to add his partner. This co-driver is inactive. Hit OK. It's thinking. This little hourglass up here it's thinking. I've got both drivers logged in. Now you look up here, you'll see the DOT clock is started on the active driver, David Odom. We can also turn that back to just a regular clock. I'm going to hit the home screen. Now you see the hours of service icon is lit up. I'm going to go into the hours of service. This is where all of your electronic logs will be kept.
You have 7 hours and 58 minutes of remaining drive time.
I'm going to go ahead and put David into an off-duty status. Then I'll explain why I did that. There's a change button at the bottom. I'm going to put David into off-duty. I could have also put him into sleeper berth. Manually put him into drive time. He's already on duty, which shows here with the green button. Or we could go to off-duty driving. I'm going to put David off. Notes are required. Hit OK. Now then, David is off duty. Remember, this was a team operation. The driver's at the top, David Odom. He's got a green light beside him. That means he is active. David will be the driver that records all the driving time or all the off-duty driving time. His partner, Rob Williams, is off duty, inactive, no green light. Let's go back to David. Under status, all these tabs at the top have a function. Under status, there's a lot of information on this screen. His status shows off duty. That is his current status. He started this status at 10:56 Eastern Time on the 27th of February. It is now 10:58. Duration, he's been on there for 2 minutes. So you as a driver, when you get into this screen, you can see your current status, tell if you're in the wrong status, and see how long you've been on there. Last 34-hour reset. He has no, the last reset wasn't done. This is a training unit. We just logged in. Hours to be gained at midnight tonight are 0. Again, this being a training unit, there are no hours from 8 days ago. You as a driver, though, if you're doing a reset, you could go back there and look and see what you gain at midnight back on the 8th day. Tomorrow night at midnight, you'll also see the hours that you're going to gain. If you have been active today, you'll see the miles that you've driven. Under summary, David had started his clock 5 minutes ago, so he's got 7 hours and 55 minutes if he starts driving before he has to take a 30-minute break. His 11 hours are showing a full 11 hours since he has not driven. 14 hours was started when he logged in. He's got 13 hours, 55 minutes left, and since he did have some on-duty time, 5 minutes has elapsed from his 70 hours. The clock tab you'll usually not have to worry about. It shows your hours, USA time and Canadian time. The graph represents what looks to be a paper log. I'm sure you're used to using paper logs under the electronic logbook. We've got a system where you can tell what statuses you were on. You can go back 8 days, see the different statuses. going to go back to yesterday. There are two status there, sleeper berth and off duty. I'm going to look at my information. Tells me I started at midnight.
You have 7 hours and 54 minutes of remaining drive time.
The next tab is the day log. The day log will tell you whatever status you've been in throughout the whole day. Today's the 27th. David Odom has been off duty 6 minutes, on duty for 2 minutes, and then previously had been off 10 hours, 54 minutes, dating back to midnight. You can scroll up and down. During the course of a day, you'll have many statuses, so this will be full to where you can look at it. Information, again, gives you information about the company. Hit done. Under remarks, you can look at this, see the status was off, what remark was put in there. Break. Your 8-day tab, think of that as calculations for your 70 hours. The only thing it's going to show on here is on duty and driving time. So you can calculate your 70 hours again going back 8 days. And in the beginning, under the status tab, when I said there was no hours picked up at midnight or no hours picked up tomorrow night at midnight, you can see here that there was no hours done on those days. If you get pulled over by a roadside and have to send email your logs, either by email or fax, this is the place to do it. Again, on your 8-day tab, hit fax request, hit that, put your information in, get out of that to whoever's attention, whatever the email address may be, then hit request. I've not put in a fax or an email address, so it's missing. Otherwise, it'd be in there and you could hit OK. It would be sent to that officer or to somebody back at his station. The Approve tab, you should be approving your logs daily. Go in here, look at each status. If something looks wrong, you can change it. I'm going to go ahead and look at this on duty time right here, and I'm going to edit this information. The original status will pop up. I'm going to change it to sleeper berth. I'm going to go in and put a note. Hit OK. Why did you have to create this edit? Now this status is on sleeper berth. You should be constantly looking at your logs to make sure there's no mistakes being made so that you can utilize all of your hours in a given day. Once you see this and everything looks all right, you can approve all. Once you do that, everything will disappear. Are you sure you want to do this? Yes. If for some reason you've hit the approve all and you realize you've made a mistake, you can call safety. Safety can re-edit anything that's been approved. Your load tab is the last tab on the screen. It is a very important tab. Officers out on the road now are asking to see this. Basically, your load information is in here. They have to match that to your logs. If you have a load number, you can put it in here. Start date, end date, bill of lading number if you have it, manifest number, trailer, 1, 2, and 3. If you're in the habit of dropping and hooking a lot, you'll have multiple trailers in here. There also is a history, which, again, this being a training unit, there's no loads in here. This is where you could go back for a week and look at your loads.
You have 8 hours and 0 minutes of remaining drive time.
The active driver, again, will not see his logs moving down the road. Once he starts moving, this goes blank. The DOT clock is the only thing he'll see. You'll notice the DOT clock is now back up to 8 hours before he has to take a break because we wiped out that on-duty time. I'm going to go back to the home screen. We've got messages that we have not read. Please call dispatch. I've read the note. I do not need it. I can delete it. Or if I want to hit a reply, I can do that. And that'll go back to the person that sent this message to me. If I want to delete everything, I can hit delete all. Am I sure that I want to delete the messages? Yes, I do. If I want to compose a message, there are macros in the system that are already preset. They come in your unit already, so it saves you from typing a bunch of information in. Dispatch will ask you to send certain macros back to them when you arrive at customers, when you pick up, when you're delivering, so forth. There's accident macros. And one that I want to show you. Macro 23 is a vehicle inspection report. At the end of your day, when you're doing a post trip, this needs to come in if there are any defects. Under new rules and regulations, you only have to send one in if there is a defect. Put your tractor number in there. Go down, list any defect. Answer the yes or no. Again, you only have to do this if there is a defect. Trailer number. Everything good, yes or no, list the defect. Then the last 4 of your social is your electronic signature. To get back to the beginning, since you're done with your messages, hit your home button. Logging out of the system. The only time you should have to log out is if you think someone else is going to drive your truck. If you're the owner and no one else ever gets into your truck, you can stay logged in, just be off duty. Make sure you're off duty when you're at your house. Make sure you're using sleeper berth on the road. David Odom, I'm going to log out. Again, do I really want to do this? Yes, I do. Still thinking up here. Now I'm going to log Rob Williams out. Yes, I do. For any teams using this, make sure the green light that I showed you at the beginning under the status for David Odom, he was active. Make sure whatever active driver is controlling that vehicle going down the road, make sure that green light is next to their name. Do not have your co-driver driving down the road on your logs. One other thing I want to show you and close it before we close is there's a place for a USB cord. Some drivers feel uncomfortable with the keyboard and the screen. I would suggest if you're using the keyboard on the screen, instead of using your fingers, use some type of stylus or pen. Or again, you can hook up to this, use a keyboard. Some of our drivers also uses a mouse. Again, whatever makes you feel comfortable. In closing, I'd like to provide you with some numbers in case you do need help or have additional questions. Safety's number is 888-423-2472, extension 3144, extension 3123, 3256, 3230, or 3153 can get you help and answer any questions that you may have. I'll also give you OmniTrack's number in case you cannot get a hold of someone. 800-541-7490. You should have your mass number before you call them. You can get that by either calling safety or calling dispatch. They can give that number to you. It's also located right here on the back of the unit and should start with a 107 if it's an MCP50 unit like this. Again, if you have any questions, please call safety.